Kasean Prior makes his return. The Cardinals score over 100 in another win. You're locked on Louisville. Let's break it down.
You are Locked On Louisville, your daily podcast on the Louisville Cardinals. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Card Nation, what's going on, everyone? Welcome into this Friday edition of the Locked On Louisville podcast. I'm your host, Dalton Pence. This is my sixth year covering U of L, fourth year hosting this show, and I want to take the time to thank you all for making us your first listen of the day. Just a reminder, Locked On Louisville free and available on all streaming services. 5 days a week, your team every day. Don't forget to leave a comment in the YouTube section below. Be sure to hit that subscribe button. Both are great ways to help the show continue to grow. The Louisville Cardinals defeated the Jackson State Tigers 106-70. We will discuss Kasean Prior's return. J'Vonne Hadley missing this game. The offense scoring over 100 points. And some things that need to be cleaned up ahead of Tuesday's game against Kentucky. We will give out 3 stars of the game and also preview the upcoming football matchup against California, what Louisville needs to do, and much more. But before we get into football talk, we got to break down the Cardinals' 106-70 victory. This is the first time that Louisville has started out 2-0 since 2020. It's the first time they've scored 100 points back-to-back games since 2010. So really good scoring performances from Pat Kelsey's team early on in the season. Louisville playing against Jackson State, who last season made the SWAC Conference Championship game. They return a good amount of their supporting cast and also brought in some key transfers. One of those pieces being Devin Ree, the former Louisville Cardinal. Now Ree played 10 minutes against the Cardinals and did not score a single point, had 2 rebounds and 1 assist. But for Louisville, it's all about scoring the basketball, and they are doing a ton of that. 104 points in the season opener on Monday. They get to 106 last night. I'm recording this on Thursday night, so technically it's tonight when I'm recording this, but you'll hear it, and it'll be last night. But 4 players scoring in double figures. 4 of the 5 starters. Sananda Frew had 12. Khani Rooths 16. Mikel Brown Jr. 18. Ryan Conwell led the way with 19. Adrian Woolley and Kobe Rogers both got close to 10 points, but did not eclipse that number. But the main storyline here, Kasean Prior makes his return. Of course, he had the surgery to repair his torn ACL that he suffered in the Bahamas last year, Thanksgiving week, or the day after Thanksgiving. He played 16 minutes, scored 6 points, 3 of 8 from the field, missed all 3 of his 3-pointers, 3 rebounds, 1 steal. Thought he played fine. His first game action in almost a year. It was nice to see him back out there. You could tell the emotion that he was playing with. He had a dunk. Just a leader on and off the court for this team that they need on the court if they want to reach that ceiling and make some noise this season. So awesome to see him back. A little rusty, of course. The shot looked fine, just didn't fall, but the shot looked okay. J'Vonne Hadley missed this game. That's the other storyline. Now, from what I was told, this is strictly precautionary. The belief is that he's going to be good to go against Kentucky on Tuesday. They just held him out for precautionary reasons. The concussion protocol, he took a hit on Monday night, if I remember correctly, but he was held out of this game, and the hope is that he is going to be returning on Tuesday against the Kentucky Wildcats, and you know that Louisville needs him to play, but I thought that the Cardinals stood up in his absence. Ali Khalifa played 12 minutes. Vangela Zugris played 11. Sananda Frew, 19. Khani Rooths, 24. So that is your front court production. Couple things here. 106 points, a very balanced approach, and we talked about that all offseason, is that Louisville doesn't really have that go-to guy. Maybe Ryan Conwell is that guy on paper, but you're seeing through the first couple of games, and the first couple of games may not tell you the full tale, but very balanced approach. Now, You won the game by 36. The spread opened up at 32.5. It ended at like 39.5. Now, here's the thing. If it wasn't for that late three-pointer from Jackson State where the guy kicked his leg out and made the shot and won, they made some tough shots on Thursday night. Defense does need to be cleaned up a bit, but they made some tough shots. Overall, not really much you can complain about. You win by 36 points. You beat a team that you're supposed to beat. Not much to take away. I don't really have much concern. I feel better about this team than I did a week ago. And as far as tune-up games go, all you can really ask for. 2 blowout victories against teams that could end up making the NCAA tournament as lower-seeded conference champions, but you took care of business. Once again, maybe it wasn't as lopsided as Monday night's game early on, but you ended up increasing the lead to 20 by halftime, and you never looked back. So looking at the pure numbers, the Cardinals shot 52% from the field, 30% from three. They cooled off a little bit, 10 for 33. They made 74% for the free throw line, 26 of 35. That does need to get better. Louisville does need to shoot better from the charity stripe because free throws are indeed free. You saw Louisville get out and move in transition in this game, and it was beneficial on the offensive end. I would argue that defensively, when you're playing that fast on offense, you sort of got to have a plan for if the other team tries to mimic that on your end of the floor. Now, at times it was okay, right? But it just seemed like things needed to be cleaned up. Louisville struggled with communication, not knowing who was guarding who at times. And there were some open shooters, and they made the Cardinals pay. Couple plays where it felt like Ali Khalifa gravitated towards the middle of the floor, and the ball got thrown out to the guy he was supposed to be guarding, and that player made a shot. It is what it is. Defense is something that is going to be improved upon. In my opinion, it is tougher to implement defense with a brand new team than it is offense, especially with as many talented offensive players that you have. Think that rim protection needs to be more serviceable, especially going up against better competition. It's going to be a by-committee approach with Sinan Defru, with Khani Rooths, with Kasean Prior, all three. They have the wingspan, they've got the verticality, they got the athleticism. It's just a matter of getting the timing down and not allowing teams to get into the paint. Now, here's the thing. Jackson State, looking at the overall numbers, they shot 39% from the field. They shot better from three, 40.7%. They made 11 of their 27 threes. Now, some of these shots that they were making, they were tough shots. Some of them were open. I think that Louisville has to do a better job of defending the perimeter with the late closeouts and maybe not or miscommunicating on assignments. It's a combination of things that can be improved and fixed. I'm not worried about it. We're just highlighting what we saw on Thursday night, and the Cardinals gave up 35 points in each half, and there were just spurts where you were wanting to see more from the Cardinals on both ends of the floor. And I made this point in a group chat that I'm in. And by the way, the Locked On Louisville Discord group chat is live. You can get the link in the comments of this YouTube video and join to talk to other diehard Louisville fans. It's meant for the everydayers to be able to communicate and voice their opinion. So hope that you all join that. We've already got a good following built in there, but hope you all decided to join that. But in one of the group chats that I'm in, I said that, you're up by 20 in the first half or going into halftime. It's instinctive that you're going to let your foot off the gas a little bit, especially when you know you're going to beat the team by a good amount. And they let their foot off the gas a little bit. Play got just a tad bit sloppy in the second half, and I'm not really worried about it. I think the depth on this team has just been put on full display over the first couple of games, and you see that when they go to the bench, the production doesn't really drop off, and you're with better rotations. Of course, Pat Kelsey and company are still working through their rotations, trying to see what works, what doesn't, who needs to be on the court at the same time as other players. Once he finds that out, and it's going to take some time, it's probably not going to be decided here in the next month. It's probably something that you'll be able to solidify going into 2026. the calendar year going into ACC play, that's when you'll be able to really zone in. So overall, really good performance. You win by 36 points. It's time to give our 3 stars of the game. And I went back and forth. We've also got some honorable mentions that we need to talk about. But number 1, the difference between number 1 and number 3, very slim. We'll rank them. We'll give out our 3 stars of the game when we come back. You're tuned into Locked On Louisville, covering your team every day. Card Nation, it's almost the weekend. Time to look back and crown this week's MVP on Who Delivered, powered by DoorDash. Just like you can win every Saturday with DoorDash Streaks, saving more every time you order. These players delivered when it mattered the most. Let's break it down. For the Louisville Cardinals, it was Isaac Brown who started this game with a quick 50-plus yard touchdown run. Yes, he did get hurt in the fourth quarter, but when he played, he was electric, and he had been getting better game after game after game, and we wish him a very speedy and full recovery. And just like Isaac Brown delivers for the Cardinals, DoorDash delivers your Saturdays with DoorDash Streaks. You save money every Saturday. You order, stack it up all season long, and you could save up to $250, including $100 in DoorDash credits. Order this Saturday. Keep the streak alive. Fuel your game day only with DoorDash. Terms apply. Promo period is good through November 18th. Thank you all so much for making us your first listen of the day. Just a reminder, Locked On Louisville, free and available on all streaming services, including on YouTube and TikTok, 5 days a week. Your team every day. If you're an everydayer of the show, you tuned in on Tuesday and you witnessed me giving out my 3 stars of the game. If you're a fan of hockey, then this concept should be relatively normal. However, if you're new, that's okay. Let me break it down. We'll give 3 stars of the game. The first star will be your quote-unquote player of the game, and then it will go in line, but your second most important player, your third best performance. So honorable mentions, I have 2 of them. And these, I like to go on the eye test. I don't base a ton off the box score. I go based upon what I saw on the court or the field and try to go beyond just the surface level. I think these players need to be honorable mentions. The first one is Kobe Rogers. He played 18 minutes, but he had 7 points, 3 rebounds, 5 assists, and 4 steals. He was extremely efficient and effective in his minutes on the court. Thought he was incredible on defense. On-ball defense was on point. And I definitely think he just deserves a mention in this game. Another one that I think deserves an honorable mention is Adrian Woolley. 9 points, 5 rebounds. He had 2 steals. The box score might not show it, but this was his best performance as a Cardinal so far. It's been an interesting beginning to his Louisville career, and it was always going to take him some time to adjust. Younger player coming from a non-Power 5 school. It's okay. It's going to take some time to adjust, and when he does, he's going to be a very good player. I thought he played really well. I'll say a third honorable mention. Sananda Frew had 12 points, 5 rebounds. I think he's got to be more assertive around the rim. Some say he needs to play stronger. I agree. I think he also has to play with more conviction, and he has to play faster. It seems like he's being very reactionary and not proactive. He's being reactive, not proactive. And when he gets the ball on a rebound, I want to see him go right back up with it, keep the ball up. Don't put it down, because then you give opposing guards the opportunity to come in and make a play. And Jackson State played a lot of 5-guard lineups in this one, and it made challenges for the Louisville front court, especially when you had Ali Khalifa and Vangelis Zugris on the court. But I thought Frew played well. Number 3 for me is Mikel Brown Jr. He was second on the team in points, 18 points. He led the team in assists by far. He had 9. He had 5 rebounds and a steal. Thought he was Mikel Brown Jr. He wasn't forcing his shots. Thought the shots were coming in the flow of the offense. And even when the shots weren't falling, he wasn't forcing the shots. He was getting the ball to his teammates. He was finding the open man. He was playing unselfish within the rhythm of the rotation. And it benefited the offense tremendously. The reason why he's only number 3 for me, however, is because he did turn the ball over 6 times. He had a positive assist to turnover ratio, which is good for face value, but 6 turnovers got to be cleaned up. I know some of them were outlet passes where you're throwing the ball down the court, and maybe some of the turnovers shouldn't have been on him, but hey, they were credited to him. You watch the game, you know that he was a little bit careless at times. It's okay. He's working through it. But he's got to be better, and that's the only reason why he's number 3 for me. But he had a really good game. Overall, the pros definitely outweighed the cons. He was much better. The good was much better than the bad. So he's going to be number 3 on my 3 stars. Number 2, I went back and forth here, but I'm going to give it to Khani Rooths. 16 points, led the team with 10 rebounds. He had a steal and an assist. Again, the sophomore forward is moving differently, chat. Card Nation. Khani Rooths looks the part early on, and I have to see more because he did play well against 2 opponents that you were projected to beat by almost 40 points. But Khani Rooths followed up a good performance on Monday with another efficient, impressive performance on Thursday. So I'm hoping that this is the new norm that we can expect from the 6'10" forward. But 5 of 9 from the field, 1 of 4 from three-point land, 5 of 7 from free throw line. There wasn't much differentiating number 1 and number 2. I really loved what I saw from Khani on Thursday. Didn't try to force things. Took a couple threes that he didn't make. There was a hand in his face, but you're beating a team by that much. Go ahead and try it. Get some shots up. Get some real live game reps in. So I was okay with it. Thought Khani played really well. Number 1 for me, and he'd been scoring a good amount of points through the first 2 exhibition games and then the first game against South Carolina State. But we haven't really given him his flowers, and that's almost because it's like we expected from him. But Ryan Conwell is my number 1 star. Ryan Conwell is my Jackson State victory player of the game. He led the team with 19 points. He had 8 rebounds. He also chipped in an assist, 5 of 13 from the field, 4 of 10 from 3, 5 of 6 from the free throw line. Again, Ryan Conwell is that guy. He's one of them ones. He's just a player that every time he throws up a shot, you think it can go in. He's one of those types of players. One underrated aspect of his game, maybe it's not even underrated, but his ability to get to the line. Like, he draws fouls because when you are 6'4", 215, driving the ball to the basket, it's hard to stop. And he does a really good job of utilizing mismatches, getting to the charity stripe. He was 5 of 6 from the free throw line here. Thought he played good defense, really disruptive defense as well. I wish this showed the plus minus stats on this ESPN box score. But oh well, it is what it is. But Conwell made a couple of big threes in the first half, which prompted the Cardinals to go on that run, which they wouldn't look back from. And he's my number 1 star. He is my most valuable player just from a scoring standpoint, leadership on the court, defensively. Thought he played the best. Went back and forth here between him and Rooths. But again, I thought Conwell was the number 1 player, in my opinion. We have just a couple seconds before we move on. I see a lot of people talking about Ali Khalifa's defense. He played 12 minutes, had 5 points, 4 assists, 4 rebounds. There were some plays where it seemed like he left his man, and when he did, they gave the ball to that man, and he hit an open shot. I do think that the way Jackson State played with 5 guards also exploited the Louisville front court. Because, when you have faster players, it's going to be challenging. Do I think that Khalifa is going to be a great defender at the college level? Probably not. as long as he can be serviceable moving forward, and I think everybody's going to improve on defense because, like I mentioned, I think that defense is harder to implement into your system every season than it is offensively. At least that's my opinion. So I think when he plays against a traditional big man, he's going to be more effective on defense. He's not a rim protector. You know what you're going to get with Khalifa. He's not a rim protector, but he also hasn't played for almost a year and a half. So got to give him some more time. As long as he can be serviceable on defense, I think it's going to bode well for the Cardinals. But don't go anywhere. When we come back, there is a football game this weekend. California will travel to the Ville for a 7 o'clock kickoff at Cardinals Stadium. All eyes are on Jeff Brom's team after there was a huge outrage as to Louisville being number 15th in the college football playoff rankings. But how does Louisville win this game? What do they need to do? We'll break it down when we come back. You're Locked on Louisville, covering your team every day. When the opening whistle blows on a new repair, get your crew moving forward with Supply House. Order today and see parts on your doorstep tomorrow. Over 280,000 plumbing, HVAC, and electrical items from the most trusted brands in the business. Their real-time inventory and honest lead times keeps you from punting projects, while their industry-leading customer service always has your blind side covered. Their Trademaster perks like priority shipping and dedicated support make the whole process smoother. So join the free Trademaster program today and score serious perks like priority shipping, lower prices, and a dedicated support line. Visit supplyhouse.com to sign up for free and use the promo code SHCollege5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. Real people, real service. Okay, Card Nation. I don't have to tell you all, but I'll do it as a formality. Next week's going to be busy. We have this weird early November Louisville, Kentucky basketball rivalry game on Tuesday. On Monday, there very well may be multiple episodes on Monday. I don't know yet. But we're going to have to recap the football game against California. We're going to have to start the preview for the Kentucky matchup. Later on in the week, the Cardinals play Clemson in football on Friday night. So there's a lot of stuff that we're going to get into. If there are multiple episodes earlier in the week next week, please don't be alarmed. But let's close this week out by previewing the upcoming matchup. Louisville 7-1, 4-1 in conference play. They're back home at Cardinals Stadium on Saturday tomorrow. Another night conference game. 7 o'clock. I don't know for certain. I'm going to be out of town, but it seems like there might be some weather rolling through the 502 on Saturday. We will see. But California 5-4, 2-3 in conference play. Something that I'm a little bit shocked by is the spread. I wasn't expecting the Cardinals to be a 20.5 point favorite. Now, here's the thing. They've been doing a good job lately of covering the spread as a favorite. A little backdoor cover last week against Virginia Tech, where you were like you won by 12. You're like a 9.5, 10.5 point favorite. And you've been getting close to those spreads, but this is a large spread. Well, how does Louisville win this game? How do they put themselves in a spot to cover the spread? I'm going to say some things that you already know because it's the same thing we talk about every week. But there's something specific to this California team, and we'll put that to the side for the moment. I think that Louisville has to not play down to their competition, which is something that they've done consistently this year. And it annoys me. It frustrates me. But thankfully, in all but one game, I should clarify, all but one game this season, they've been able to overcome. They're a second half team. But what if they were a first half team now? Win the first half. That's my first key. Win the first half. And you did win the first half against Boston College, but you also stumbled out of the gate a little bit. Virginia Tech, it was the exact opposite. You started out really good, and then you stumbled later on in the first half. So if you can come into this game with a sense of urgency, ready to go, you take the game right to California, and you build up a lead in the first half. And, oh, by the way, with you being a second half team, you keep it going. then it's like, okay, well, this could be a 21-point game. And I mentioned the importance of style points on an episode recently this week. Remember that? Yesterday's show? I mentioned how style points are also going to be something that Louisville could use, especially with their team under a microscope now that there's this outrage about Louisville being number 15 in the college football playoff, how they are way too low, why they should be over teams like Notre Dame and Texas Tech and Texas and Oklahoma. Cool. Now you got to go out and prove it. You talked your talk. Now you go walk your walk. I know it's not the football team saying this. I'm just saying this from a generality standpoint. Yeah, Louisville is a little bit low. Now you got to go prove it. Also, turnovers. This has been an Achilles heel for the Cardinals, not just because you've been turning the ball over, but when you do, it has been a complete, what happens after that almost all the time when you turn the ball over this season, you completely lose all the momentum and it goes in the exact opposite direction. Now, don't get me wrong. Turnovers are momentum shifting plays, but when I talk about momentum shifting for Louisville in this sense, it goes even a step further, and you see a Louisville team that can be playing really well, and then they turn the ball over and it goes all down the drain. You saw it last week. You're up 7-0 with the ball. You turn the ball over, boom, you're down 16-7. In the Boston College game, you're up 21-10. Isaac Brown fumbles on the first play, boom, just like that, 21-17. You're up 24-13 against Miami. Isaac Brown fumbles, boom, Miami's back in the game. Teams have capitalized on your turnovers. You know how you can stop them from capitalizing? Turning the ball over. Like, I understand it's part of the game, but when you look at each of the turnovers of the past 3 to 4 weeks, no one's forcing them. The only team that's forcing them is Louisville. They're completely unforced. They are inexcusable. They can't happen. Miller Moss has to do a better job of reading defenses and not throwing the ball in harm's way. Running backs have to do a better job of holding on to the football. That's something else. California specific, I think you have to do a good job of keeping them one-dimensional. This is a team that doesn't run the ball well at all. 79.4 yards per game. That is good for 135 or 135th in the country. You know how many teams there are that are compiled into these rankings? 136. They are one of the worst teams running the football. Now understand that sack yardage does come into play. And their quarterback, Jaren Kiave Sungapolatelli, has carried the ball 43 times for negative 96 yards. So sack yardage does come into play there. Kendrick Raphael, averaging 4 yards per carry. He's their starting running back. He has 10 touchdowns on the ground, the transfer from NC State. LJ Johnson, 117 yards on the ground this season. He transferred in, played 2 seasons at A&M, 2 seasons with SMU. They have a respectable rushing attack, but I think keeping this offense one-dimensional means that in turn, you put them in third and long situations where they haven't really been all that great. They've been bottom half of the country ranked when it comes to third down conversions. You get them in third and long to where it's obvious pass rush downs and you can pin your ears back and get after the passer. That's where you can find some success. But if you allow teams to run the football, like Boston College had success early, Virginia Tech had success early, if you take away that aspect of the game and you make California one-dimensional, I think it puts Ron English's defense in a better spot. So 20.5 points, but I do think Louisville wins this game. Do they cover? I'm not sure. Let me put it this way. And maybe this is a cop-out, but I think Louisville wins by multiple scores. And that's going to be style points, in my opinion. But that is going to wrap up this Friday edition of the show. Don't forget to join the Locked On Louisville Discord. It just launched on Thursday. You can find the link to that Discord pinned in the comments on the YouTube section below. Everyone have a great weekend. Go Cards. We'll see you right back here on Monday.